Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make it. Drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are? Hey, pretty lady. Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make it. Drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are? Hey, pretty lady.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Powder Room. It's so good to see us here tonight. I'm always excited when it's time for Powder Room, because there's always something interesting that we have to talk about. And for me personally, there's always something to learn. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And if this is not your first time, welcome back. Either you're joining on the YouTube channel or you're joining us on the Facebook channel. And this is Powder Room, where the realest talk happens. What is Powder Room? It's a private space in a public place where you get to let your hair down, have honest conversation, gain on common sense, and then put yourself back together again to face the world with truth, tact, and tenacity. This is our 7th episode. We've had 6 really amazing chats with our friends and with every single one of you who join us on weekly basis. Before we jump into anything tonight, I want to make an apology. For the very first time, one of us is missing, and that is Ada the Sage. Ada the Sage had a really important preparation for an upcoming exam that she had to do tonight, and so she will not be joining us physically. However, this is the 20th century, the 21st century, and again, this is 2020, the year where every normal is new, and so we're going to have her jump in sometime later in the talk, in the gist today. As you all know, I'm not the only person that is here. There are 3 other sisters here tonight with us in the Powder Room. I'm just going to call their names, and we're going to put our videos on, and we're going to jump into what we have to talk about today, because it's really interesting. So I'd like to welcome Casey the Realist, Ruthie the Prof, and C the Strategist. Good evening, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Cara. Hello, everyone.
Hiya. So before we get further, why is Casey just smiling and not saying anything? Is it
Hello. Hello.
Turn. I want to see the side view. Turn that head. Let me see the side view. Wow. Turn your other head. Let me see the other side.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Turn the other side. Let me tell you why I'm saying that. She's a master packer. There's nothing this chick doesn't do with hair. She packs my hair for my wedding. Oh my goodness gracious. You forgot.
It was an honor. It was an honor, Cara.
It was an honor. Say like,
yeah.
I do not understand what hairdresser was saying. And so Katie sorted me out. All right, guys, tonight is really, really interesting. We're talking about a relationship audit. A relationship audit. What's an audit generally? An audit is usually reference the company's financial resources, where you the same principles but we're applying those same principles to life generally, and specifically to our relationships tonight. And because we understand that our relationships form a great part of what our resources in life. Now, because we have a lot to do, I'm not even going to talk too much. You know me, I'm the wordsmith. I tend to really go at it. So let's jump into things tonight. Relationship audit. What is that? And I'm going to go to see the strategies. What is a relationship audit?
Okay, so Cara, the simple definition I wrote down, I'll just read it out because it's a new well, I call it a new concept. It's a bit different from what we're used to, the financial audits and all that. So a relationship audit is an assessment of all the people in your life, their actual role and impact in your life, vis-a-vis the purpose they are ideally supposed to serve in your life, or the basis for which you're connected to them, as well as your experiences with them over a period of time. So it's people, experiences, role, and impact. Okay. And I'll just say that everyone has done a relationship audit at some point in time. It's just that we don't really do it deliberately. So that's the simple definition I can give. It's an assessment, and everyone should do that. So it's a combination of things, your experience with them and all. You can decide to do just a select number of people, or you can just say, okay, everyone, and do it, as the need arises.
Fantastic. I like what you said. You said people, experiences, role, and impacts. So, okay, we're focusing on those things today. But then why should we have a relationship audit? Why is it important for us to do this? This is my first time doing this. So forget the fact that we're talking about it. I have my, if you see, I have my jotter here and I have my pen here, and I can't wait because tonight is going to be really interesting. Why should we do a relationship audit? Professor, talk to us.
Ruthie, right?
Yes, Ruthie, are you there?
Okay, see.
Oh, okay, apologies. Yes, Casey, please give us that answer. Why should we have a relationship audit?
Network, I'm sure you've heard that popular saying, network equals net worth, right? The quality of your life is highly dependent on the quality of people you have. They form a sum total of you. And so the people you have in your life either make you or mar you. The people you have in your life either, break you or make you. You've recently, the internet is flooded with all manner of deaths here and there. Check them again. There are people in those people's lives. So a relationship audit is highly essential because the quality of your life is dependent on the people around you. So it's a life or death matter. It's a life or death issue. It's not something to leave to chance, because if the quality of your life is dependent on the people around you, then it's important you assess who you have in your life. Many people have come to points of greatness because of who they have. Many other people have been destroyed because of who they have. So you are a sum total of who you have in your life. So it's very critical. It's a critical thing we're doing tonight, going through this relationship audit and helping our viewers go through a relationship audit.
Very keen. Thank you so much, Casey, for that. You're the sum total of who you have in your life. For those of you that like to run solo, your sum total is one. How humbling, how very devastating. So that's a really key one to think about. You cannot run solo. You can't run solo. Wow, I'm so excited I'm doing this tonight. Like I said, it's my first time, so I'm going to be doing it along with you. Before I even jump into the next question, if you do not have a notepad, a pen, a pencil, or whatever, please try and get one now, because you will have to be taking down some notes. We're going to be asking some questions a bit later, and you need to be prepared. Now, remember, I said Ada the Sage is not with us tonight because she had something else. Has her engaged somewhere else. But however, we did ask her a question on the topic, and we asked her to talk about what are the various categories of relationships that we have. If we talk about auditing our relationships, what relationships are we auditing? And so she sent me a video, and I'm going to be sharing that video with all of us tonight.
Viewers, this week when we put out the posters and the flyers for the topic, I noticed that a lot of people were excited, and under the comment section and in our mailbox, people, you could read from people's excitement that, oh, we're going to be auditing our emotional relationships, our romantic relationships. And I was like, oh my God, there's this notion, and I don't know why it is that way, that anytime the word relationship is used or mentioned, that it's strictly speaking about, the emotional and the romantic relationship. But the truth is, that's just one segment, of the big pie called relationships. So going to your question, asking me about the categories of relationships, so just see relationships like a big pie. So one slice of the pie, would be our relational, emotional, and our romantic relationships. But then we're constantly relating with people. We have relationships with our family members. So you have relationships with your parents, you have relationships with your siblings, you have with in-laws, you have with cousins, extended family for, those of us who are Africans. The list goes on and on and on. You have this sister here, this is my sister's sister, that my sister in this place, this is her younger brother's wife's auntie. You're like, so we have all those relationships. Then you come into the professional world, or academic or your career. You have relationships, whether vertically, with superiors, you have and mentors. You have relationships horizontally with your colleagues, professionals who are at the same level with you, your subordinates also at work, with the drivers, with the clerks in the office. So there are relationships there. Then you move into your community, with your neighbors. You have relationships with neighbors, the people who live with you on the street, clubs, social clubs, church, relationship with church members, spiritual relationships with your pastors or your spiritual leaders, and the list goes on and on and on. And each of these relationships can be adding to you, can be subtracting from you, can be poisoning you. So that audit is essential for every segment of this big pie called relationships. And that's what we're going to be examining today. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I'll be seeing you.
Yeah, that's her 2 cents. She'll be seeing us. Thank you so much, Ada, for those pointers and breakdown of the different sorts of relationships that we have in our lives. So please, I hope we noted down some of the things that she mentioned, because we're going to be talking about that later. But then before we get into that later part, Ruthie the Prof, can you break it down for us? How do you conduct a relationship audit? So we've talked about what a relationship audit is. They talked about it being about people, experiences, role, and impact. We talked about the importance of doing the relationship audit because you're a sum total of the people you have in your lives. And then now Ada has broken it down for us, where we're looking at the different sorts of relationships that we already have. But now, how do you conduct a relationship audit? And this is to Ruthie the Prof.
Okay. I hope we are not scared about the word audit because it's not really that complicated. But using the word audit because it's actually a scrutiny. It's something you really need to do and you need to prepare for it. So you need to get your notebooks and pens, like Kara said. It's a practical session that we're having this evening and we want you to be involved. So we're talking about the how now. And so the how involves you to do it practically. It's a practical session. So if you have your notebooks and your pens, you have to make a list of the relationship categories based on the simple definitions of these categories like Ada has shared. So I want to just do it like a highlight of them. The spiritual relationships, your family relationships, those that you're connected with by blood, your romantic and emotional relationships, which all of us think every relationship is about. No, that's one category. Your emotional or romantic relationship is one category. Then for your social or professional or academic or career relationships, that's another category. So categorize, make a list of the relationship categories and give some spaces, in between them. then you now group the people in your life into all those broad categories. So if you have your spiritual relationships on part of your sheet, just list out those people who are connected to you spiritually, your pastors, your brethren in church, spiritual relationships. You can list them out actually now. Then number 3, you answer some general audit questions to rate each person in your life vis-a-vis the objective of the relationship. So you have to have an objective for every relationship in your life. It has to be specific, that there's this is the reason why this person is in my life. And then you also need to also rate them based on their impact and then your experiences, with them. So the questions will come up very shortly and they'll be shown on the screen. So as the questions come up, you can begin to rate the people that you have listed on your notebook. So the categorize everyone into those categories of relationships: spiritual, family, emotional, romantic, social, professional. So list them. And then number 4 is you begin to, as you have rated, when you rate them based on those questions, you have to identify the gaps, because from the responses you will give each person, you would identify gaps, errors and opportunities to improve, or reasons to cut off. So from your responses, from the things the answers you have for the questions we're going to show very briefly, you'll be able to identify if there are gaps that can be closed up, if there are errors to improve on, or if there are people that, there's no improvement, you just really need to get these people out of your life. And then by the time you are thinking about what you are supposed to do based on what you have come to understand from your audit, you need to now make a list of your next steps. And then you set timelines for it, because this audit is not just something you want to do and then you have that information and you just have it. Action is supposed to follow after you have done the audit. So there must be an action after, and that action is to list those steps and then take action on them. That's why we're saying list them and set deadlines. So that's basically the how for it, generally speaking. So questions will come later for you to specifically rate the relationships in your life. Karachi.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ruthie. Okay, so I'm going to give us just 1 minute to write down what she has said. Remember, I said this is very practical. We're all doing it together. In that 1 minute, we're going to write down the different categories that she's just talked about: the romantic emotional relationship, the career relationship, the spiritual relationship, the family relationship, and the social relationships that you have. If possible, put one name in each of these categories. While she was talking, I was just doing that. I put a name for romantic relationship. I put another name for my career relationship. I put a mentor there. I put another name for spiritual relationship. I put a pastor there. Then family relationships, I put my mom there. And then social relationships, I put a friend there. So you can check through what she's just said and then put one person's name. Of course, it's going to be more than one person, but this is just an example of how you can conduct a relationship audit. And as soon as, just like Ruthie said, as soon as we're done tonight, you get to go off and do it for all the other relationships that you may have in your life. Okay. All right. C, strategists. Hit us with it. Talk to us. What are those questions?
Karachi, when you said you put one person in your life for romantic relationship, I said, in my mind, I said, before God.
How many people do you have?
Excuse me. You cannot be too sure. You can't be.
So to all our viewers, if you don't have any name in the romantic relationship part or emotional relationship part, it's okay. You can do this at another phase, so it's fine if there's no name there. But if you have more than one name under emotional relationship or romantic relationship part, I'll be watching you in 5D. Okay, so anyway, some people can have more than one name because they are still checking them out. Okay, so let's go to the questions, and these questions are yes or no questions, right? And for every yes is +1, every no is 0. Number one.
Sorry. Let me ask that. So every time we say yes, we score ourselves 1 point for that.
Yeah, you score the person 1 point. Yes.
Okay, score the person 1 point. And anytime you say no, we get a 0 for that.
0 for that person. So I will refer to the person as ABC. So is the purpose of your relationship with ABC clear?
Sorry, quick question. Are these questions cutting across all the different categories, or are they only for one?
Yes. So we came up with general questions. I've come up with general questions that you can apply to all categories. So it makes it simpler, and you can just, let's call it a level 1 audit. And then when you now need to drill further, you can ask more questions. And we put the questions on slides. Are we going to project them so that people can take pictures of the slides? Ruthie, do you have them to project on the screen?
I have them, and I'm ready to.
Oh, Kara, thank you. Kara, thank you, Kara. Okay, so is the purpose of your relationship with ABC clear? Do you feel respected by ABC? Do you respect ABC as a person? Does communication with ABC flow easily? Are you able to express yourself freely and without reservations when speaking with ABC? Can you resolve a conflict with ABC one-on-one without involving a third party? Then this one is big. Do you trust ABC? Okay. Then on the other side, in your opinion, next slide. In your opinion, does ABC trust you? So if you look at these questions, you say you're looking both ways. Do you trust ABC? In your opinion, does ABC trust you? Do you feel safe or secure about and around ABC? Right? Let me not mention the name of the person whose PA did something recently.
My God, my God.
But you might imagine if the guy had done a relationship audit, who knows? You'll be alive.
Yeah.
Does thinking about ABC bring good memories? Another thing for that incident. All these funny incidents we've seen recently, there were red flags. They remembered something that happened. This person cheated me, this person abused me, this person did this. So the good memories or bad memories. When you think about this person, when the person's picture flashes, are they good memories, yes or no? Another question, can you boldly say that ABC has never betrayed you? Some will say, oh, how many betrayals require a deletion? You decide. Separate from the feel-good or happiness considerations, does ABC add any value or play any valuable role in your life? So this will help you when it comes to the career relationships, okay? So if you have a boss or a colleague, even if they don't make you feel good or happy, does this person add any value or play any valuable role in your life? Okay? So you talk about whether that person is parasitic or is a symbiotic relationship. Now, in writing the story of your life at any time, if you want to write the story of your life, will ABC feature in a positive light in that story?
Sorry,
you know, there's some people that when you're writing your story, you won't bother mentioning them. Yeah?
Is there any score like half?
It's yes or no. You know, audits are mathematical. It's yes or no. So when you are in doubt, okay, yeah, thank you for that, Karachi. When you're in doubt, I say, just put a no. It will help you. When you cannot really say, you can't really place it, good or bad, balance in between, just put no. Then later you can now drill down. Now, this is the biggest question of all. If you had a choice, would you like to still have ABC as part of your life? If you had a choice. If the answer is no for this last question, You know, so these are the questions, and then we can discuss further what else we can do. But for me, I believe that if you have more no's than yes for one person, you need to dig deep. Why is there a no? Or could it be you that is making it a no? Have you done something, you know? Is there an experience that you added to it and all that? Because you can't really take out self-accountability and self-responsibility. So in doing a relationship audit, you know, you do it in a balanced way. But these questions, I believe, will help. There might be others. So to our viewers, you can add to your list. This is the powder room list. You can add to your list. So back to you, Kara.
Wow.
Back to who? I'm busy doing an audit.
The auditor is transferring the baton.
I'm busy auditing.
Kara has declared since that she's Olodo in this session.
I'm not even sorry.
She did the declaration.
You know, the truth, I have to admit as well, I'm not a guru when it comes to relationship audits, because you know, Chobert, we can take everybody in, just be flowing. You don't even know where somebody is stabbing you, you know. But these are the principles for normal audits, you know. That I think we just need to really do this, because really
it's
the
a
story
fantastic one. I must confess.
Thank you. Thanks. All right, back to you, Kara.
Okay.
You're interrupting her audit.
I'm telling you, but do you know, this is for me. I know this is powder room, right? And I'm supposed to be moderating the session. My heart is beating literally, because as I did the audit, and you can't understand how I'm feeling if you're not doing the audit. Like, I don't know, Case has I think Ruthie has been touching her hair since, I don't know what she has been writing since we started this audit. But if you're doing the audits with us, you'll see that this thing is not funny. The first question I wrote, I'm surprised at the answers. Do you get? I didn't think that I'm gonna have so much insights and I think it's deeper when you're working with one person's name. Yeah. So don't just do as in audit all your whole, you know, some of you that have many romantic relationships, you're auditing everybody at the same time, Peter, Paul, and their brothers. No. If you take one person and audit them, this is what you call a SWOT analysis for your relationship. You kind of like, no, I see what C said. You can dig deeper. Anything you get a 0 in, it's an opportunity for you to shine the light in that area and ask yourself deeper questions on why. Thank you so much. See the strategist. You're a very strategic woman. Okay.
Also, my bill.
Sorry,
Lawyers always send bills. I'll send my bill. Lawyers always send bills.
I don't know why people are like this. I do not understand it. Okay, thank you very, very much. I might come back to you because I also want you to talk us through next steps. Or do you want to do that now? Because I know you mentioned next steps. You know, do you want to talk about that now, C? Or would you rather come back to that later?
I could actually just do that now, okay? And I'll just be very quick because we have a lot. We have a lot to do. So the next steps, and then there's a question in the chat room from Chine. She says, when you identify a gap, I'm looking for the question now. So many comments in the chat room. I think she says, when you identify a gap, what do you, in a relationship, how do you do the remediation? Okay. So, like I said, when there's a no, for every question where there's a no, drill deep, right? Why is there a no? Is it because this person does not value you? Okay. Could it be something you've done? Was there a third party that affected it? So that you will know whether it's one-off or is a trend. There are some things that are one-off, but they're very impactful. And then you should, you know, borrow sense. Let me talk like the realist, you know, borrow sense and move on, okay? There are some one-offs that are too big to just condone.
To ignore.
Okay? So when you do that, case it, right. To ignore. They're too heavy to ignore, okay? Those hard knocks, too heavy. So now what you do is when you've done those no and you've checked and you've said, look, even though I'm not perfect, it can't be me that's causing this. There's no way further with this. So you will check, what can I do differently? If there's something I can do differently, and in 6 months' time or 3 months' time, when I do the audit, the no will change to yes. What conversation do you need to have with ABC? There's sometimes you need to have difficult conversations. Look, I've done that. You don't even need to say I did an audit. There's some conversations you must have, because sometimes you need to reset some people's heads actually around you. Okay. What boundaries do I need to create or upgrade? You know, when a fly is perching, it might be because the pot is cold. Do I need to make the pot hot? Do I need to reduce the number of times I have this laugh conversations with this colleague? Do I need to be more formal? Do I need to change the way I speak, the way I dress, the way I listen? What other changes do you need to make or cause to be made? So these are now questions you can ask yourself. Then create a traffic light to-do list. I love this traffic light to-do list. I use it a lot for work. What will I stop doing? As of course, you know, the red light is stop. What will I start doing? That's been, and what will I continue doing? It will help you for every relationship, for everything. Because if you're the one bringing the vibes that will allow people to take advantage of you or allow them to betray you, it might be something you can do. But even all of this, I think, you know, you need to press the delete button for some people. And you don't need to, you know, some people, breaking up is just for romantic relationships, people are dating. Sometimes you need to break up with certain people. Now, how do you do that? You can convert what you call a friendship at a workplace to a very professional relationship. And it's not by being nasty. But let me just leave it, because I know my sisters have things to say. But I think this will be very helpful for everyone. But, you know, no pressure. Do it, you know, step by step, prayerfully, and with a lot of wisdom. Emotional intelligence is required for this. Back to you, Kara. I like saying that.
This is back to you. Tonight is amazing. Okay, so thank you so much. Oh my goodness, see, you're amazing. So thank you so much for that and for those tips. I particularly liked the traffic lights, the green lights, what will I stop doing? The red light, what will I stop doing? The yellow amber lights, what will I continue doing? So please keep that at the back of your head. And if you would like us to send you the questions that the strategist shared with us when we were looking through our different categories, send us an email at hello@powderroom.com.ng. And there are 2 R's in powder room. So hello@powderroom.com.ng. Thank you so much for that, C. So going back to what the next steps will be. You've done a relationship audit. Like I just did one because of time. I just did for one person and I saw the results. What happens after that? What's the next steps? I think I'll bring this to Casey, the realist. What should the next steps be after you've conducted a relationship audit?
Okay, I guess, Kara, what you're asking is identifying the gaps, right? Who you need to have. I guess that's what you're saying. Who you need to have. No, not necessarily
who you need to have, but what are the things, yes, part of that is who you need to have. Because now I know who I have. Do you get?
Yes.
So who's missing? And then what am I missing? What are the gaps? Yes.
All right.
So
okay. Okay, so fantastic. I will address this along the lines of what we call the C's, right? The C's of a relationship. Who you need to have. You would see many of them. You probably have learned about the 4 C's, probably have learned about the 5 C's, but I will be discussing 6 C's. Number 1, the challenger. Everyone needs a challenger in their lives. The normal person wants to be comfortable. You want to remain in your comfort zone. You just want to be fine where you are. You really necessarily may not want to make a move. You need that challenger in your life, someone that can, prod you and get you going. That's the challenger. Another kind of person you need in your life is a cheerleader. So you may have a challenger, somebody, that keeps, pushing and pushing and pushing. Hey, you also need a cheerleader. You need someone that as that challenger is inspiring you to go on, to do great things, there's someone also who is hailing. The truth is you can have both of these characteristics in one person, depending on how much that person, that individual has, developed him or herself to know when to switch the button, right? So you need the cheerleader. Everyone needs a cheerleader. Come on, you can make it. This is one reason I do not miss anything my children do in school, whether it's academic, whether it's sports, whether it's, right? Mommy takes the front row. I know the power of cheerleading. I know the power of someone saying, you can do it. Come on, go on. That last wind energy. Don't give up. You're right there. You're almost there. Even when many times you're not there yet, right? You need another C. I call it the consultants, right? The coaches, the mentors, the teachers, all fall into this category. Someone, see, I say it boldly everywhere. Anyone who knows me well knows that I am, what's the word now? I have all manner of mentors. There's no need reinventing the wheel. There's no need going through the stress again. Someone has learned it. At times they package it in a book. At times you have the opportunity to have a connected one-on-one with them. At times they have put it at times, so it's just wisdom that you leverage on that, available resource, and then you grow. You become all that you want to become. So the consultant, I put the coaches, the mentors. Many times this role differs. So a coach might not necessarily be a mentor. A mentor can wear both caps, right? While a coach speaks more to your professional development, so I have a task to carry out, many times it's professional, and I need someone who's been there, done that, to say, yes, put your feet in here, put the hand here, do this, do that, right? For the mentor, it's developmental. Take you through the course of development, walk you through. So at times you have a mentor who knows when to switch to become a coach, right? At other times, they may be two different people. And the truth is you can have many of them, but you should be able to know who your teachers are. The Holy Book calls them instructors, who your instructors are. You should be able to know who those people are. So that's the third C. The fourth C is the connector. You need to know that person who knows somebody who knows somebody, right? If your life if the size of your life is just by what you have and who you know, I tell you, it will be small. It will be a very small life. So there need be that connector. There's just that one person. Oftentimes for someone like me, all I need to do is pick up my phone. Even when I do not have access, just pick up that phone and look for that person who seems to know, someone says, yeah, so I know, I know it's important. If you don't have it yet, you need to look for that person. You need to find that person. You can also be that person for someone else. So the connector, the fourth one. The fifth one is the collaborator, the supporter, the partner. You can go the mile together. I'm sure you've heard that popular saying, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with someone. You go with someone. So, and talking about the different areas of relationship that Ruthie and Ada has, also described, you would see that these people can fall into any of those categories. So for example, a spouse can be a collaborator, can be a partner. You can have a business partner. For someone that sits in the sphere of business development, oftentimes I see people who, what they have, what's the word? And they find, at times they find it offensive when you say, you know this thing you have, you could work with someone. You could bring this together and make it richer. You could bring it and make it a fuller bouquet. This stuff that and I know I can do alone, I can work alone, especially in this part of the world, in Africa. Many times collaboration is something we don't know to do. We love to walk the mile alone, and many times it can be a lonesome journey. Except what you're doing is not something strong enough, or it's not something big enough, right? I know we like to use the phrase, start small, grow big. There are those times when you just need to go big. And you may not need heaven and earth to do that. All you need is a great collaborator to go the mile. And that's the 5th one. But I want to add a last one, the 6th one. This 6th one sums it all. And like one of my favorite comedians will say, the general overseer of them all. He is the creator. I say it time and time again. It makes absolutely no sense that you are a being. You know, I with all due respect, somebody may be watching and say, okay, so it's because you're a Christian. But the truth is, you didn't fall from space. It's important that a product is not separated from its manufacturer. No matter how far that product goes. Look at what happened during the peak of the COVID era. Right? People barged into the Apple shop, and this is describing the United States, and they were looting and, you know, in the riots. By the time they were done, the beauty of that organization is that every singular item they sold had a serial number. They could reach the people directly. What they did was they started sending them the amount they had stolen to their accounts. They started sending it to them. Oh, yes, you've stolen, right? It's not your possession. Please pay as at when due, right? So the creator, if you're listening to us tonight, if there's any relationship you need to put in place, is that of the person that designed you. You are not made in isolation. You're not plastic, you're not rubber. Someone sat down, molded you, went as far as breathing into you. If in case you say, oh, this is religion, or this is, no, that is not what it is. This is reality. Remember, I'm Casey the realist. This is reality. Little wonder when that breath leaves you, you become nothing but matter. You become matter. In other words, what gives you an essence is the breath of the manufacturer. And so it's a relationship that if you have in place, we're discussing relationships, once you have that relationship in place, every other thing begins to fall in line. And so if you have these 6 people in your life, I tell you, you're an A-league person, you're a high flyer. There's no stopping you. And it would be great as we do this relationship audit that you begin to identify that even when you're forming relationships, you also identify these people in your life, identify the roles they play, and appreciate them. Thank you so much, Cara. Don't mind me, I have to remember and stop. Talking is my hobby.
Yeah. Tonight is amazing. I'm so glad I came with my daughter. Tonight is amazing. So just to recap on what Casey the realist says, she talks about the challenger, someone who prods you on, the cheerleader, someone who encourages you, the consultant, someone who coaches and mentors you, the connector, people who know others and can easily connect you, the collaborator, your supporter or your partner, and then finally your creator, and that is your maker. So if there's anyone that is missing in all this chain, in this whole link, then you know that you're lacking something vital. This, you know, everything from number 1 to 6 is what I personally call destiny helpers. These are destiny helpers, and everyone needs everyone in this category.
Yeah, your destiny designer and the people he called to make it work.
Absolutely. Destiny designer and the people he called alongside. Thank you so much. YouTube is buzzing. There are all sorts of, Jariah said, I will put Jesus for emotional. Jariah, you're not alone. You're not alone. When C was saying there's only one person that can be emotional, I was smiling. Jariah, you're correct. Chinaya said, great topic, valid audit questions. And then she went ahead to ask a question. Amarachi said, this is serious classwork. And Oge says, exam hall kind of exercise. I like that you guys are taking this seriously because I am. And I'm already getting, you know, some feedback from here. Patience said, Peter, Paul, and their brothers. And Oge said, interesting, repurposing relationships. Thank you so much, everyone. There's a lot of claps for Casey on YouTube as well. Casey, I told you that this your hairstyle is working for us tonight. So thank you for sharing those 6 things with us. But as you were talking, do you know something came to my head? You know how, this might sound funny, you know how you're a member of a group and you don't know how to leave. I don't know if you guys have ever been in that kind of group. You're in a group, you know that you want to leave this group. Who even sent me here? What am I doing here? But you know you cannot leave because you're like, why did this person leave? There might be some of those sort of relationships in your life where you might want to, you know, just miss or just quietly disappear. Is that a possibility? Professor, you're the person I'm asking this question. You've been smiling since. What about those that you're stuck with people? Some people are literally stuck with people. And then your audit, let's say we just did an audit now, and then your audit reveals that, oh my goodness, there are red flags here. And I should really not be either in this relationship, or I should not have categorized this person in this category. For example, C talked about it. Oh my goodness, I almost underlined it. She said there's some relationships you have at work that you might need to put some boundaries. Why? Because those relationships might be turning into something else. They might be creeping into some other relationship, you know, boundaries that you know they should not be creeping into. That is where you bring in your traffic lights. But what about those ones, Prof, that you know that these ones are toxic or these ones have a negative impact? How do you do with these? What do you do with these relationships, especially when you feel stuck?
Okay, first of all, let me try and understand the kind of relationships where these kind of being stuck might exist. We're looking at family relationships. Somebody's your dad, he's your dad. You can't cut him off. Somebody's your brother, your sister. You have colleagues that you work with. You have a boss. The boss is in an organization where you're earning money, but you have a boss who is kind of like a toxic boss and everything. But the money is good and things are working, and you don't want to leave based on the career and all that, you know. Somebody said people don't leave organizations, they leave managers. So it's actually the people who are your managers that are actually the ones that you're having to deal with. So the organization might be good, but you have a bad manager and all that. And I was thinking about it because it also came to my mind, because you're talking about next steps, deleting, you're talking about creating some space. But there might be some relationships where you can't just create the space. And as Casey the realist was talking, and I was noting down these 6 amazing 6 C's, especially the 6th C. And someone also asked, where do we place people who are younger? And I was also thinking about the question, because most of all these others look like people that are not subordinate to you, but they're kind of like ahead of you. So these are people who are ahead. What of the people who are kind of subordinate to you? And the only C word that came to mind was children. Yeah, for now, we might look for something more cheesy, but children can be part of, you know, the people who are younger, which are the relationships you also need in your life. And when you talk about being stuck, I thought about these 6 C's, and I said, if you can't delete them from your life, what you need to do is turn inwards and kind of repurpose your role in their lives. That's one idea you need to do. You need, because you can't go, so you have to shift some, because you can't shift physically, you have to shift something in your mind. You have to be able to shift the idea, the role that you're playing in their life. So it's no more their role in your life. You have to shift and begin to see your own role in their lives. And I was thinking about it. In every difficult situation, it's possible that you can assume any of these 6 roles in that person's life. You can become a cheerleader, can become a consultant, can become a connector, a collaborator. If someone is finding it difficult and you begin to look for ways to work with this person, to collaborate, to, you know, get this person to come on your side, it's a very, very, very solid strategy to begin to change the dynamics of the relationship. Because sometimes people get toxic, people get angry because they don't see any buy-in into the relationship. So you really need to do some marketing, you really need to add some value begin to bring in some value into that person's life, not just what they do for you, but what you begin to do for the person. The cheerleader one came to mind that it really made me think about something I have been through. If somebody is finding it difficult for you, I become that person's cheerleader. And you come in, I will hail you seriously. And there's really nobody that puts off, that gets angry over. So you convert your role in their lives because you can't leave them. So you begin to change your perception, first of all, and then change your response to them. So you don't really react to them, you begin to respond. Think about it. And then one of these relationships that can help you do that is the creator. Think, for instance, you're in a marriage relationship. You can't walk out of that marriage. But when you become a cheerleader to that person, when you become a consultant, when you become a challenger, a connector, a collaborator, when you start asking the creator to give you the grace to be these in the life of that person, I think things will turn around and change, because that's the only way out of that stuck situation. If not, you'll be thinking of things like divorce, which the creator doesn't like. And I know there's usually grace to assume that position and change the narrative and the dynamics of that relationship you're stuck in. I hope that
Kara, can I jump in?
Please jump in. Thank you so much, Ruthie. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ruthie. But I would always like to take a realistic perspective to issues. This sounds very good, but there are often times when relationships just need to end, right? You just need to end it. No matter how much you're able to convert yourself into being something else for that person, you should also be decisive enough. You should also know when to quit. Relationships mustn't be what's the word? It mustn't be when you say stuck. There are times when you just need to leave. There are times to take a walk. And if I'm also to cite the relationship Ruthie mentioned, which is oftentimes the marriage relationships. We've seen marriage relationships that tend towards death. That has become a death trap, right? So in such a scenario, because the truth is many people are listening to us, many people do not have idealistic situations. They do not. Many people are in danger zones. So like I said, if you trust your decision enough and it's not a tantrum you are throwing, you can take a walk. You can take a walk. Albeit, I will add that if you are a Christian, you would go by the judgment of the Holy Book. Taking that walk does not mean taking a walk to jump into another. It means taking a walk and staying free from any further entanglement. That's the trending word now, entanglement. You take that walk, you can walk out of a dangerous relationship where you're stuck in, whether it's family, it's a spouse, it's a boss, no matter how good it is, you can take that walk. However, I added that when it's a marriage relationship, the Holy Book gave a standard. This is when you take that walk, you remain unmarried. And it's important that we bring that out. So people don't stay in toxic relationships and endanger their lives. Life is to be lived.
Thank you so much.
Living. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Casey. And that is very true. Sometimes when we think about family, we just think mostly that there are relationships where we have to stay there. But the world is evil. And from what the good book is saying, darker times are ahead where people can do. We just read the story of the poor gentleman who Gokada in Nigeria, and how that whole story was just a mess and just shook the whole world. That is a relationship. That is something that, we would say, this is someone I'm stuck with, because that's a person that works with you, for you, someone you've trusted for a long period of time. So this relationship audit is not a joke, in as much as we are doing it and we're talking about it. You hear of family members abusing family members. I'm not even saying between husband and wife. I'm talking father, daughter. I'm talking all those sorts of relationships. So these are really the times where you need to really do this audit for yourself and decide not to put yourself in a toxic environment. Let me shock you guys something. Statistics, let me shock you guys. Not let me shock you guys something. Let me tell you guys something. Statistics states that who you turn out to be, environment is responsible for 51% of who you turn out to be. Education is only 10 or a bit less. 51% is environment. So you must guard your environment very jealously. And that is what this whole relationship audit is about: guarding your environment, knowing what to let in, what to keep out, and knowing how to categorize people into certain boxes, taking a walk when needed. And just like also what Ruthie, the prop, said, repurpose your role. Here I wrote repurpose your role in their lives. And then I also wrote upcycle. You know what upcycle means? Upcycle is when you have an old plastic container and then you peel it and you paint it and you turn it into something else. Sometimes the people that you have in your life can be upcycled into something else, where they're in another totally different category, used for something totally different. Because remember what I said, one of the mantras I wrote for myself, Karachi, you will never beg to be loved. If there's somebody that I'm always giving, and the person is not returning, upcycle, move the person to another category in your life where those expectations are not required. And then you save yourself that pain and that torment of always expecting and, getting disappointed. Thank you very much to everyone in the powder room, tonight. What a lot of deep things that we've talked about. Remember, if you do want to, I'll come back to all of you for your closing notes and your closing thoughts. So please, you can start collecting that as I remind the people. If you want us to send you an email of the questions that the strategist asked, or the points that Casey the realist talked about, or the way to conduct a relationship audit as spoken to us by Ruthie the prof, send us an email, hello@thepowderroom.com.ng, hello@powderroom.com.ng, and we'll be able to respond to you and send you these materials. We're not going to put it in the public space because these things were hard fought for, and they are the copyrighted versions for the powder room. But if you ask for it, we're going to send them to you. And now I'm going to go around for the closing charges, and we'll come back and I'll tell you what we're going to be talking about next week. Another really exciting one. Please, that we finished Powder Room part 1 doesn't mean you should go out and drop your jotter or drop your audits where you had it. Go and finish up, the rest of the audits. Take your time. That person that is asking you out, that wants to date you, or that friend that you've been wondering where to go and do a proper audit. Be very intentional about your life. Stop making emotional decisions and start making calculated, smart, and decisive decisions. Okay, final thought, sisters. Ruthie, what's your final thoughts?
Oh, so I'm going first. All right, what I would say when it comes to relationship, what I always tell people to do is define your relationships. People find it difficult because relationship seems to be an emotional word. We don't like to be objective about it, but it's important for you to be objective. And what we've done today is an objective exercise for you to remove emotions aside and let it. So remember what I said in my notes, let emotions warm reason, but let reason rule your emotions. And the second thing I would say is,
please say that again.
Let your reason rule your emotions, and your emotions warm your reason. So that's the complement of those two sides. So if you're too reasonable, you might be too tough and hard, So let your emotions warm reason, and let reason rule emotion. So reason has to call the shots in the long run. And the second thing I would say is that Don't make other people's ordeals or your ordeals your ideal in life. Always stick to the ideal. Remember that relationships, there are rules for entering into relationships. Don't break the rules when you're entering into them. That's why you need to be conscious. That's why you need to, there are those you come in, you're born into. Those ones are fine. But they are the ones that you come into. And if you do it unconsciously, you can walk into very bad relationships. So you have to consciously walk into the right relationship. Obey the rules when going in. Obey the rules within them. So you don't have to start looking for how to get out of them because you consciously entered into them. So don't let your ordeal or other people's ordeals be the ideal in your life. Stick to the ideal. There are principles, there are rules for these things. And if you obey the rules, you'll be fine.
Wow.
Nice.
You know, in spoken words, when we go to spoken word events, we don't clap. What do? We click our fingers. So I'm keeping my fingers up.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we do. It's amazing. See something she said that I wrote. Let reasons rule your emotions and emotions warm your reasons.
Warm your
I think the
reason.
first part is men and the second part is women. Let reason rule your emotions, men. Let your emotions warm your reason, women. And there was a time where we're arguing, all of us in this room, we argued, I don't know how many, 5, 6 years ago, that men do not fall in love. Maybe we'll make that a topic in the powder room. Men, I don't know if you remember that topic. Casey, do you remember? Men don't fall in love. They make decisions. Hey, okay. So many things to gist about in this powder room. Thank you so much, Ruthie, the prof, for that. And now I'm coming to you. See the strategists. What's your final thoughts?
This topic, shaking tables. Okay, so what I'll say is that God has given us the power of choice, okay? And today's choices are tomorrow's events. So if you look at all the things that have happened, you know, in your life or anywhere around you, they are tied to choices that were made 2 days ago, last week, 3 weeks ago, few years ago. So our choices always have consequences. So good choices, good consequences, bad choices, bad consequences. So I would say every day cautious about the choices you've made today. Take time to look to the choices you've made in the past and see if you can correct them, because the consequences will always come up. That's how life is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gorgeous girl. Thank you. She said today's choices are tomorrow's events. So thank you very much for that. And Casey. Are you muted?
All right, yes. Carl Jung said something. He said, when you look on the outside, you dream. When you look on the inside, you awaken, right? So many times when it comes to relationships, we look at the other person. I would say, look at yourself again. Most times we are who we attract. Part time, we are who we attract. And so if you can work at investing in yourself, improving the quality of your person, you will attract the right kind of people. So those would be my parting words. Invest in yourself, improve yourself, and then attract the quality of who you also have come into your life.
Wow, thank you so much. That quote from Carl Jung, when you look at all the outside, you dream, and when you look on the inside, you awaken. Amazing. My own quote is from Wing Tang Su Tang Sing Tai. Wing Tang Su Tang Sing Tai said, you feel you're the only one that can quote. Can you imagine these people? I said final thought.
I was tempted to say final thoughts on Ada's behalf, and shame on me. No proverb came up, so I'll just stay mute.
Oh. All right, everyone. I just have a simple phrase, and that is live purposefully. Live a purposeful life. Even your relationships should be purposeful, and the role you play in the lives of others should be purposeful as well. So thank you so much, everybody. Next week in the powder room, we're going to be doing a relationship audit part 2, but this one's a different twist altogether. We've called this one To Be or Not to Be. And it has a lot to do with choosing a life partner, staying married or not, kind of relationship you want as a single or not, dating, courting, all of that. To be or not to be? That is the question. And we're coming to that next week. So do make it a date with us. Don't forget to send us a mail should you want to ask us questions, or even if you have a topic you want us to talk about. Remember that this powder room, all of us are in here together. We're only the faces, you are the voices. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all. And I will be looking forward to next week, Saturday, when we gather together here again. Especially big love and big shout out to all the men who sit in the pancake with us and who talk and gist and, throw in their own content together. We appreciate you. We love you. Please do keep coming back. And with that, it's a good night. Ladies, you can say good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Have a nice week.
Thanks
Love
for
you.
joining us.
Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you'll never make it. Drown yourself in lies and your illusions. Don't you know that what you think is who you are? Hey, pretty lady, you tell yourself that you're not beautiful. Who told you all those lies that just deceiving you? Don't you know that you can be all you've always dreamed of? God made you beautiful, said it in His word that you were beautiful, and you were going places that you never dreamed. He said that you're the first, not the last, so don't believe those lies and those illusions. They're lies and just illusions. Hey, young man, I see through your eyes and I can tell you the way you see yourself is how I feel you. Don't you know the stuff of what you're made of? Everybody listening, as long as you're breathing, yes, you have hope. And if you're down, the only way is up. Don't you know that he who's down needs fear no fall? God made you beautiful. He said it in His word that you were beautiful, and you were going places that you never dreamed. He said that you're the first, not the last, so don't believe those lies and those illusions. They're lies and just illusions.